Welcome back to Curse Conversations. For today's episode, I will be your host, Sophie.
And I will be your co-host, Angela.
And today, it's a special episode. We're accompanied by two guests.
Very special guests.
Say hi, guys.
Hi. Hello.
All right. For today's case, we will be talking about Tsutomu Miyazaki, who is also known as the otaku murderer.
Nerd. That is what otaku means. Okay, good job.
Well, otaku really means people who have an extensive collection of anime, manga, horror videotapes, and hentai, as well as various other forms of pornography, which is why Miyazaki was dubbed the otaku murderer. And after this case was published and reported upon by Japanese media, it actually triggered a widespread moral panic against otakus in Japan. We're going to start off by talking about early life of Tsutomu. Tsutomu Miyazaki was born on August 21st of 1962 in Tokyo, and he was the son of a very wealthy family.
Oh.
He was born premature and had a rare birth defect, which caused his hands joints to be fused together, preventing him from being able to bend his wrist upwards.
Oh.
So his hands were always stuck like this.
Oh.
Yeah, he can't bend his wrist upward. Miyazaki's family operated a regional newspaper company and were well known in the area, where his grandfather and great-grandfather had served on the town council. So they had power, they had money.
Where did it go wrong?
Due to his parents always being busy with work and other things, he was mainly raised by his grandfather and a nanny that the family has hired for him, who was intellectually disabled.
Okay.
For? You acknowledge it.
Intellectually disabled nanny.
And?
You think that's a good idea, man?
Yeah. They can work.
You would hire an intellectual disabled nanny to take care of your kids.
Take care of the grandfather.
Well, I mean, oh, to take care of the grandfather?
Yeah, the grandfather.
Oh.
If
Not
they can
the
work,
kid.
they can work.
Miyazaki was often bullied when he was in school, and he was ostracized when he attended elementary school due to his deformities. And because of the bullying, he often kept to himself and wasn't really social.
Fair enough.
He went to prestigious high school associated with Meiji University and was a star student until his grades began to drop drastically. He was ranked 40 out of 56 in his class and did not receive the customary admission to Meiji University. He, instead of studying English and becoming a teacher as he originally intended, he attended a local junior college and studied to become a photography technician. So a bit of a career path change
Yeah, a
here.
bit.
Yeah. In the mid-1980s, Miyazaki moved back into his parents' house, sharing a room with his elder sister.
But they're rich.
Yeah.
I think they can afford another room. You know?
Maybe, but, just because you're rich doesn't mean they need another. Like we said, Miyazaki moved back into his parents' house, sharing a room with his elder sister. And although his family was highly influential, he did not want to take over their family business.
Wait, was he the only son?
He was the only son with an elder sister. So obviously the family wanted him to take over it, but he did not want to. And after his arrest, Miyazaki would say that what he really wanted was being listened to about his problems and believed that his parents, more worried about the material than the sentimental, would have not heard him and he would have been ignored.
I feel like that's probably true, but it's a bad excuse.
Yeah. In the same confession, he said that by this period in his life, he had begun to consider suicide. Miyazaki felt that he only received support from his grandfather, to whom he was close, but was rejected by his 2 younger sisters. In May of 1988, Miyazaki's grandfather died, which served to deepen his depression and isolate him even further, because he grew up with him. In an attempt to keep his grandfather close and retain something from him, Miyazaki ate part of his grandfather's ashes.
What?
Yeah.
Has he ever heard of like making it into like jewelry or something and wearing
Probably
that?
no.
But that makes sense though.
It does make sense.
It does make
You're right.
sense.
You're right.
And a few weeks later, one of Miyazaki's sisters caught him watching her while she was taking a shower. He attacked her when she told him to leave, and when their mother learned of the incident and demanded that he spend more time working and less time with his videotapes, he attacked her as well. That is before he started murdering people.
To his own family.
So now we are going to get into the murders. Between August 1988 and June 1989, Miyazaki was understandably depressed since his grandfather has just passed. And he mutilated and murdered 4 girls. Girls between the ages of 4 and 7.
Oh.
Not only did he do that, he also sexually molested their corpses.
That's
Oh.
He also drank the blood of one victim and ate a part of her hand.
Oh, that is nasty.
So he's like a cannibal.
He was a necrophilia.
Necrophilia
Cannibal.
Yes. And pedophile.
I think that's given.
His chain of murders were named the Little Girl Murders because all of them were children.
But yeah.
On August 22nd of 1988, one day after Miyazaki's 26th birthday, Mari Kono, aged 4, vanished while playing at a friend's house. Miyazaki had led Kono into his black Nissan Langley and drove westwards of Tokyo and parked the car under a bridge in a wooded area.
Oh, God.
He sat along Kono for half an hour before murdering her and molesting her corpse.
Jeez.
Come on, dude.
Shit.
He dumped her body in the hills near his house, departing with her clothes, then allowed the body to decompose before returning to remove her hands and feet.
Oh.
And he kept them
Oh.
in his closet.
Oh. That's disgusting.
Miyazaki burned the remaining bones in his furnace, grounded them into powder, and sent them to her family in a box,
Huh?
along with several of her teeth, photos of her clothes, and a postcard which read, Mari, bones, cremated, investigate, prove.
What the?
Kono's hands and feet were found in Miyazaki's closet after his arrest almost a year later.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
So he murdered her, molested her, kept her hands and feet, burned her in a furnace, crushed her up, and then put the ashes into a box and sent it to her parents with her feet and clothes.
Poor parents.
Yeah.
Poor kid. Not the guy.
That's horrible.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Awful.
Terrible.
And on October 3rd of 1988, Miyazaki abducted Masami Yoshizawa, who was 7 at the time. After spotting her while driving along a rural road, he had offered Yoshizawa a ride, which she accepted, then drove her to the same place he had killed Kono. Miyazaki killed Yoshizawa, engaged in sexual acts with her corpse, and took her clothes with him when he departed. 2 months later, On December 12th of 1988, he abducted Irika Namban, who was 4 at the time, as she was returning home from a friend's house. Miyazaki forced her into his car and drove to a parking lot, where he forced her to remove her clothes in the back seat, began to take pictures of her. And he killed Namba, tied her hands and feet behind her back, covered her with a bed sheet, and placed her body in his car's trunk. He disposed of her clothes in a wooded area and left her body in the adjoining parking lot, where it was discovered 3 days later.
Oh my god.
On December 20th, Namba's family received a postcard sent by Miyazaki with a message assembled using the words cut out of a magazine, which read, Irika, cold, cough, throat, rest, death.
Huh? What?
Doesn't really make much sense,
No.
but they found her body before then, so it was clearly sent by the killer. Bless you.
Bless you.
God bless.
On June 6 of 1998, Miyazaki convinced Ayako Nomoto, who was 5, to allow him to take pictures of him. He then led Nomoto into his car. On June 6 of 1998, Miyazaki convinced... On June 6 of 1998, Miyazaki convinced Ayako Nomoto, who was 5, to allow him to take pictures of her. He then led Nomoto into his car and murdered her, covered her corpse with a bedsheet, and placed her in his trunk. Miyazaki took the corpse into his apartment and spent the next 2 days engaging in sexual acts with her body,
Oh.
taking photos and videos of the remains in various positions.
That's disgusting.
When Nomoto's corpse began to decompose, Miyazaki dismembered it, abandoned her torso in a cemetery and her head in the nearby hills. He kept her hands, drinking blood from and cannibalizing them.
Disgusting.
Fearing that the police would find Nomoto's body parts, Miyazaki returned to the cemetery in the hills 2 weeks later and carried the remains back to his apartment, where he hid them in his closet.
It's nasty.
On July 23rd of 1998, Miyazaki saw 2 sisters playing in a park and managed to separate the younger of the sisters from the older one, who stayed behind. He was taking photographs of the younger daughter, whom he had convinced to strip nude when he was caught by their fathers.
Good.
They attacked Miyazaki, but was unable to restrain him. After fleeing on foot, Miyazaki eventually returned to the park to retrieve his car, where he was arrested by the police, responding to a call by the father.
Good.
A search of his 2 bedrooms produced 5,763 videotapes, some containing anime and splatter films, which he used as reasoning for his crimes. Interspersed among them was video footage and photos of his victims.
Oh.
Miyazaki, who retained a initially calm and collected demeanor during his trial, appeared indifferent to his capture. His trial began on March 30th of 1990, and he blamed his actions on Ratman, an alter ego who he claimed to force him to kill. And he spent time during the trial drawing Ratman in cartoon forms.
His alter ego is Ratman.
Yes.
The guy was not creative at all, was he?
Nah. Probably saw a rat running around. Was like, no, it was Ratman.
Nah, but you know what's more messed up though? It's in Japan you can actually say that, and that's actually a valid reason, and they'll actually let you off easy.
Ugh.
That's what sucks about it. Did he get off easy?
His trial went on for 7 years, which focused on his mental state at the time of the murders. And under Japanese law, people of unsound minds are not subject to punishment.
Right.
and people having cognitive disability or entitled to reduced sentence. 3 teams of court-appointed expert psychiatrists came to different conclusions about his ability to tell right from wrong. One team determined Miyazaki to have Another team thought that he was either schizophrenic or has a dissociative personality disorder, multiple personality disorder. And the third team found that although Miyazaki definitely had at least one personality disorder, he was still capable of taking responsibility for his actions. The Tokyo District Court judged Miyazaki aware of the multitude and consequences of his crimes and therefore accountable. He was sentenced to death.
Yeah!
On April 14th of 1997, his death sentence was upheld by both the Tokyo High Courts on June 28th of 2001 and the Supreme Court of Justice on July 11th of 2006. Miyazaki described his serial murder as an act of benevolence. Another dude in Japan, who was also charged murder, described himself as the next Tsutomu Miyazaki, to which Miyazaki stated, I did not allow him to call himself the second Tsutomu Miyazaki when he hasn't even undergone a psychiatric examination. He's upset about someone else using his name when he hasn't gone under a psychiatric examination.
Japan's a scary place, yo.
Miyazaki's death warrant, he was signed on June 17th of 2008, and he was hung at the Tokyo Detention House that same day. And the 4 victims, no older than 10, lost their lives to a monster.
Yeah. That's tough.
Poor girls.
Some of the parents never got to even see their corpses because of what he did, and also because he would dismember them. And it was the most some of the parents got were their hands and feet that he kept in his closet. And that's the last piece of their kid they would ever have, because he would dispose of them in different areas and they would never find him again. This case is very disheartening.
Very.
It is very tragic as well.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. Anything else you guys want to say about this case?
I'm so happy he died.
There's a special place in hell for him.
Right next to Hitler.
Alright, and that would conclude the case of Tsutomu Miyazaki, the little girl murderer and the otaku murderer. I'll conclude the episode. If you guys have any other topics or cases you guys want us to talk about, we might get to them. Maybe.
In like 30 years.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Just because you're rich doesn't mean they need another
Is something
room.
gonna happen to the sister?
No, nothing's gonna happen.
Okay.
He doesn't go for people that old.
Yo, shut the fuck up.
Oh!
3 teams of court-appointed expert what?
Which one?
Psychiatrist.
Which one?
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist, yes. So they call him the otaku murderer because he was an otaku?
Yeah.
Oh.
They called him an otaku murderer because he was an
Because
otaku.
he was an otaku.
Yeah. And murdered her.
Love you. Can you like cut that out and then send it to me?
Stop. Oh, God.
It's in there.
No, my hands are cold.
Freezing cold.
Oh.
What if I do it to your
Oh,
hands?
no.
Lennon had like Jack the Ripper. We got Zack the Toucher.
Yeah, I'll do the last.